All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's bi-weekly update. It is 2 days after Valentine's Day. Hope everybody had a great day in the last couple of days together. Just wanted to say thank you very much for being here today. We're honored and grateful to be here with you all today. And of course, we always like to start these webinars by going big. So I'll start here and then I'll pass it to the team. I'd like to hear what's on your mind for going big today. So first of all, I just want to thank all of you for being clients of ours. Some of you have been clients now. I just looked at it recently, almost a quarter century already. So that's a long time. So thank you very much for your trust and loyalty, and also the introductions that you've been giving to us. You are really referring people to us that are wonderful. We can tell you love them and care for them because they're really, truly great people. And some of those people are starting their journey much like you guys have started 25 years ago for some of you as well. So grateful for that. Also, we lost a few clients recently, very, very saddening. We're actually some of us are going to a funeral today, and just a very sad time, but also grateful for the opportunity to listen to the stories, the family stories over those years, and also just the time that we got to spend together, albeit it might have been shorter than we would hope for. So those are two things that I'm grateful for. Zach, how about you?
Yeah, thank you, Ken. Just in general, always have to be thankful in the morning in Wisconsin when you wake up and it's 47 degrees, not negative degrees at all. So extremely grateful for that. Also for bluer skies in the morning instead of being completely dark. But specifically today, I'm grateful for the power of journaling. I had the opportunity last night to meet with the people that introduced me to Gentian 4 years ago now. And they're family friends of my parents, and my dad hunted with the brothers for over 40 years. And the main leader of that group journaled every single year of each day, who was there, what they did during that time, where they made their drives, what they all did. And my dad's told me hundreds and hundreds of stories, and I was able to connect them with journaling. So never underestimate the power of journaling for yourself, for your own mindset, but also the impact that it has on others many, many years later. So 50 years worth of journaling I was able to go through last night, and called my dad after and was able to connect even more with him on those stories. So extremely grateful for journaling and the impact it had on me last night.
Oh, that's great, Zach. It almost seems like you can remember some of those stories that happened 20, 25 years ago. And if we don't journal, we sometimes forget those stories. Absolutely. So that's a nice piece there. So how about you, Angie? Are you still on the webinar with us today? How about you?
I am. Zach kind of stole my gratitude go big, but for those of you who are not here in Wisconsin, yes, it is going to be 50 degrees today. And so spring is in the air. However, I believe we're getting some snow tomorrow. So, but I do love the change of seasons. I do enjoy the snow, but I do enjoy 50 degrees a little more. So I am thankful for that today.
Oh, that's great, Angie. Thank you very much. So all you Floridians and Arizonians that when we call you and you give us a hard time about, oh, it's tough. It's like 80 degrees out, 75 degrees out. Here in Wisconsin being 47 or almost 50 degrees, it feels like 110 to us right now. So
yeah, it's pretty balmy.
It's a very balmy 47 degrees right now. So absolutely. So thank you very much, Angie. Appreciate that. How about you, Mike? What's on your mind these days, and what are you grateful for?
Thanks, Ken. So I'm grateful for pets. My parents recently got a German Shepherd puppy, and he is something else. It's going to be a handful for them. It's going to keep them young, and I'm excited for it. And whether that's, pets in general, my girlfriend's dog kept her company throughout COVID, and you never really know how much joy having a dog's going to bring into everyone's life that's around you, or any pet in general. So it's just something to be grateful for.
Oh, that's great. Appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, sometimes the pets can be our companions, that's for sure. We talk to them. So I feel like they talk to us back sometimes, right? So absolutely. So a lot going on in the markets, a lot going on in planning today, lots to cover. We're going to do the Gentian happenings more towards the end of the webinar today. We usually have done that in the beginning, but we're going to try to do it at the end, kind of leave you with some things to be thinking about as we pause for the week. So lots going on. Inflation, of course, to talk, amongst everybody, amongst all your friends, amongst us here in the team as well. So interest rates always there. what are the markets doing? You know, is it normal? Are things out of control right now? You know, there's a lot of things that are being talked about right now. But again, remember, plan-based, plan-focused. Keep your eyes on the prize. It's really down the road. Keep our blinders on. If we can, great things will happen. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about 529 plans a little later, and also Social Security we'll touch on as well. So as always, we'll kick it over to Zach, and he'll give us an update on what the markets are doing and give us some perspective on that.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. Since we had our economic forum last week, we had 24 more slides for you guys to go through today. It'll only take till about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and we'll be good to go. Now we'll short it up for you, have a couple things to share, and really, like Ken mentioned as well, the importance of perspective between looking through a short-term lens and long-term. We'll share a couple facts with those. But just in general, like we normally do, we'll go through where the markets are at year to date, and also on the fixed income side as well. For the S&P 500, temporarily down 6.19% on the year. The Dow Jones temporarily 3.71% on the year. The NASDAQ, which if you guys remember is 50% weighted towards technology, it's down 11.48% temporarily. The Russell 2000, which tracks small sized companies, temporarily 7.52% down to start the year. The growth side and value still having the disparation that we've talked about over the last year and a half, and is 11.11 on the growth side, temporary correction, 3.91 on value. International, 1.63, and emerging markets actually positive 0.95. So like we said, we love when emerging markets is finally positive on the year. But really with the importance of perspective, I just wanted to share one quick chart to help show that and how important that is. And really what the news media is excellent at is not showing us perspective of the long term. So if we're looking at the screen that I have up right now, if we look on a daily basis of the S&P 500, it looks extremely volatile on the short term. Looks like there's really ups and downs on a daily basis, which there definitely is. And really during this time frame that we look, a lot more down than up for the most part, especially recently to start the year. Now, if I just click one button here and go from daily to weekly and extend it back a year and a half, much different story, right? To start the year is really here, which if we look over the last 2 years, extreme growth during that time from the temporary correction in March of 2020. So it just goes to show the extreme importance of perspective. And also when we took a look at this, we found that if we're looking at 10-year rolling periods since 1950, so 1950 to 1959, 51 to 60, all the way up until 2021, there have been 63 different rolling 10-year periods. The S&P has produced a positive return 61 of 63 of those 10-year rolling periods. So just extreme importance of having a long-term perspective. On the fixed income side of things, some of the higher temporarily yield to maturities that we've seen as of recently and really over the last 2.5 years, the 1 year 1.12% yield to maturity, the 5 year 1.87, the 10-year 1.96, which got above 2% for really the first time in the last 30 months, and the 30-year 2.27%. And then just a really interesting fact that we found from MFS as well, not necessarily market related, but in March of 2020, we had the massive correction and a lot of unemployment. The Congressional Budget Office forecasted that the number of employed Americans would not recover to its pre-pandemic level of 158.9 million until 2024. As of the start of February, we're already back to 157.2. So really 2 years ahead of schedule as far as employed Americans during that time. So really interesting to see the recovery and the perspective that MFS brought it there. Dad, I'll pass it back to Ken and Chris.
Sounds good. I see that Chris is on the webinar now. And hello, Chris. Good morning.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So my gratitude today is for technology and reminders. Those are all good. It's outstanding. It's great to be on with you guys. I appreciate that as well. And it was kind of funny because I was, it's kind of funny when you did it, but I was thinking about this. Don't you hate it when someone answers their own questions? I do. You get it? No, I'm joking. So today, I think the thing that I wanted to start with was retirement is not the finish line. I've talked to a lot of people lately who get to retirement and feel kind of unfulfilled. They don't feel they have purpose anymore. We've been having a lot of conversations around that. So developing some questions around it. There's nobody who can help you find it, but there are guides to allow you to do it. It's something that we do in our meetings. But a lot of the questions that go with it are going to be around, what is it you truly enjoy? What gives you energy? What takes energy away from you? So we'll be exploring some of this over times. I know a lot of you have retired or are approaching retirement. One of the most important things that we find for you is the live it side of the equation. We can do the planet, we can get you there monetarily, make sure your resources are supporting what's important to you, but we really want to know what's important to you. And sometimes it's hard to figure out what that is. So with that, I appreciate that. But that's what I wanted to start with today. My gratitude again is for family, technology, great weather here so far this year, and also coronavirus coming down dramatically. So with that, let me pass it over to Ken for planning and the more important things that he will talk about, and I'm sure we'll pass it to Mike as well.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Good to see you on the call this morning. Yeah, I think Chris really mentioned what's really the important part of it all. All the technical stuff that we do study and we try to convey to you all. It is important because it is a tool for your wealth, but really understanding what is your vision, what is the purpose of your money is really important as well. And like what gives you energy, like Chris said. I thought that was a great piece. I'm going to use that one in the next meeting with you all. So thank you, Chris, for that. So yeah, when you look at this, it's skiing season, of course, right now. Some of you are on the slopes, some of you enjoying cross-country skiing. It's fun to be outdoors right now, especially today, like Angie said, almost 50 degrees. So good day to be outside. I was talking to a client the other day who didn't ski though, and it was really funny. I'm like, you took up skiing? And they're like, yeah, we took up skiing. I'm like, but you never skied before. And they're like, yeah, we're spending our kids' inheritance skiing. SKI, spending kids' inheritance. So, with that being said, it's a funny little joke that I heard along the way. I wanted to share it with you all. So, so if you ever tell your kids that you took up skiing, they maybe look at you like, what does that mean? When I think about skiing, I think of a couple things. We talk about equities, we talk about stocks and bonds quite a bit, and how the mix is. And when you try to equate that to skiing, I really think like the bunny hills, the bonds. The bunny hill, it takes us a while to get to where we're going. It's slow, and sometimes we never get down there because if we're on the bunny hill, that means we're learning how to ski. So sometimes we never even get to the bottom. That's like bonds. Sometimes we never get to cross that finish line monetarily. And that's really important piece to understand is that bonds, yes, they do have a purpose in your portfolio, but it's not going to be the thing that gets you down the hill the fastest. So you look at the blues and the black diamonds, yeah, they're fast. They're faster, and it's a little more of a ride. It's a little more exhilarating, but they get you to where you want to go, which is the finish line and then beyond. It's not just a finish line like what Chris was talking about. It's beyond. It's the next 30 years. Retirement's just a starting point, if you think about it that way. So again, equities are more like the blues and black diamonds on the hills, a little quicker approach, but again, a quicker approach to accomplishing your vision and your goals as well. So just wanted to try to equate skiing to what we do for a living. Maybe that makes sense for some of you as well. There's some new planning when it comes to 529 plans out there. There's a few rules that change that we're aware of as far as ownership of things. Again, there's multiple ways to save for college. It doesn't have to be in a 529 plan. It doesn't have to be that way at all. So again, we'll explore ideas with you. We'll find the best solutions that make sense for you and what you're trying to accomplish for you and your kids and the family. Lastly, before I hand it back over to Chris, is Social Security. Getting a lot of questions on Social Security. In 2015, the rules changed. I can't believe that's already 7 years ago. It feels like yesterday sometimes. But 2015, if someone was born before January 1, 1954, the idea of file and suspend is still in play. But that rule changed 7 years ago. So it's all about your date of birth. It's all about what the strategy can be. So there was a lot of strategies that we're able to do to really maximize Social Security. Now, Social Security Administration has really put in a very straightforward method of what Social Security can look like. Yeah, there are, call it 900 ways to take it or whatever the number is. But for the most part, it is a fairly straightforward conversation of when to take it, how to take it. It really comes down to if we need income. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Chris.
Thank you very much again, Ken. I appreciate it. What I'd like to do is just touch on a couple of things here. before I even pass it over to Michael. Michael is going to give us a little bit about what they've been doing as well. But touching on a couple of things here, I was asking one of my clients just recently, we had a couple meetings, and it's one of my clients who are calmer. They've never really had any issues when the markets, really nothing phases them whatsoever. And I asked, what is it? What is your secret? How are you so calm? He says, that's easy, Chris. I always take life with a grain of salt, a slice of lime, and a shot of tequila. So that was his secret. I appreciate it. He delivered it better than I did, but the first one is, oh, grain of salt. That's fantastic. At any rate, with that, let me turn this over to Michael for a little bit about what we've been doing behind the scenes. We've had a lot of meetings, a lot of research. So Mike, what's going on?
Thanks, Chris. So yeah, we absolutely have, as stated in some of the previous webinars, really ramped up the meetings with some of our partners with the different mutual funds that we work with and those that we don't. Some of the conversation has all kind of circled around inflation and the volatility that it increases based upon the uncertainty of what the Federal Reserve is going to do. And something that everyone kind of agrees upon is that an environment that is volatile is one that can benefit from active management. Active management is a strategy that is contrary to that of passive, which is kind of like indexing. You set it, you forget it, and that's all that happens. But for us, we pick fund managers who are making decisions in these times that can change out of things, create different sort of scenarios within the actual portfolio itself that they're managing, and then stay on track and adjust to what's happening economically. So we set it and forget it with active managers from the standpoint of we believe that they can make investment decisions that will be profitable long-term. And at the end of the day, within the portfolio itself, yes, it's diversified by sector and the types of investments that are inside of it, but also the management strategies within. And so that's something that we always want to continue to convey, that diversification doesn't just stop on where the money's invested. It's still built in on how it's invested as well. I'll pass it back to Chris.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. We appreciate the research and the summary of all the different pieces we're doing, and thanks for bringing us something pertinent every time. I really appreciate that. What I want to do now is just touch base on a couple of different items as well. So I was very fortunate recently to be given an advanced copy of a book. So I can't quote it, and that's really hard for me. But this is an advanced copy of Trust and Inspire by Stephen M.R. Covey. And this will come out, I think, in about 2 months. So it's going to be really hard for me to read the book and not to share it with you. But there's some incredible concepts in here. And I think it's something about the world has changed dramatically and leadership hasn't. So it's some fantastic concepts around that idea. So it's a great piece that I've had just recently. It'll come out on the 5th of April. We'll let you know when that happens. And it'll probably be the subject of our next book club. He has a book, if anybody wanted to read it, that also may be part of it, called Smart Trust. Smart Trust is a great one as well. It's about a 10-year-old book, but it's still pertinent today. Another thing that I was very fortunate to be on a group yesterday with David York. David York seems like a quite young guy, but he's 51 like me, or 52, I'm sure said like me. And he's one of the foremost estate planners, but he's taken it and looks at it completely differently. So he brought up some incredible ideas about this as well. And really, most of us would like to, and this is in the Give It section of what we do. Remember Gentina's Plan It, that's getting you ready for retirement. Live it, living during retirement, and give it. It's what you do. So David York is a specialist in the Give It side of the equation. He has this, most of us want to give what we do, and it's called divide and disseminate. There's 4 Ds, as he talked about it as well. And really, as you look at the 4 Ds, it's divide, disseminate, and basically it's all bad stuff. So all the stuff you get, you just want to divide, get rid of it. But he said the trouble is, what we want to do is we want to pass the money on. We also want to pass on the difficulty or the pain it took to get it, but you can't. And that's why the average $2.5 million estate within about 18 months is completely dissipated. Matter of fact, you'll find that gifted money is often within 8 months completely dissipated or spent. So a whole lifetime to save and 8 months to spend. How's that equation? So he's been looking at greater purpose with this, and he's got a book coming out as well here in about a month or so. But it's a great idea. He had a couple that I thought that were good. It's very easy just to give money away, but it's not easy to give away the pain and the journey that it took to get it. So you can tell the story But if I was to say, what are the more important things for my children to receive? Is it to receive the benefit of what we did, the money that you saved, or is it to receive the benefit of how to work to make the money? He was talking about one of his top clients. Actually, one of them is the owner of the Utah Jazz. And he was really astounded by this, but he asked her, so, how does it feel to own the Utah Jazz? How does it feel? She said, David, I don't own the Utah Jazz. I'm just a steward of them. So the way she viewed ownership of the Jazz was that she was a steward and she was looking for a way to make sure that the team never left the state. So looking at this, being a steward versus being an owner is a big difference. When you own something, you dictate, it's mine, it's this. She had flipped it completely around, and they found the power position is to be a steward of what it is. Now, what is a steward? A steward looks for transcendence. A steward looks for things outside themselves. So when you look at this, somebody who's outside themselves, what we call arrows out driven, is quite an interesting idea. Instead of looking at as an owner, and I've got this, and I've compiled this big pile of stuff, right? That's ego-based. A steward is a guidance-based. It's saying, I want to take care of. A steward is the way we in our firm often look at what it is we do for you, is being stewards of helping you accomplish what you'd like to. It was a very interesting concept, and by somebody who's as wealthy as that was a really, really big piece. And I always like to say the one thing as well, if you grow up in a area of affluenza, do the kids ever really know what it is to work hard? I think that we grew up in an affluent society here, and I guess let me ask you, and you can answer it any way you want. What made you successful and able to retire? Was it inheritance? Was it hard work that you did? Savings? Thrift? What do you think is most important to pass on? The money or how you made the money? One more story as well. A very wealthy gentleman had all sorts of money. And the kids in a family meeting said, listen, Dad, we have no desire for money. We don't want your money. We want to know and learn how you make money. And he was astounded. He thought the kids were just around for his money. And they said, no, we don't want that. We want to learn what you did to make money and teach us how. And he said that warmed his heart. Is an incredible journey. He started LLCs with all the kids to help them on whatever they wanted to in making money. So the give it equation isn't the give it and just split your and divide your money up. And that becomes a Vanderbilt scenario where you take one of the wealthiest people 4 generations later, and there's not a single millionaire amongst them because it's all divided so far. The government takes a good portion of it as well, and it's all spent. Or it's a Rockefeller. Rockefeller is where what you have not only grows, but it helps the people that you leave it to grow as well. Some of the interesting ideas, they're leaving things now in a family bank rather than just dividing it up. And it says, you can then attach to the family bank. You can borrow from the family bank if you have an idea that's worthy of it. And here's some of the criteria of it. We want to be there for you to be able to fund whatever it is you'd like to do, but we want you to do the work to save your own money. So families are looking to put those ideas together for education. For some are actually, here's a great one as well. And it's called a purpose trust. I'm going to have to look more into it, but it's a new concept. It's a purpose trust. And guess what? Nobody owns it. So it's money that's simply out there for a purpose. And it's not owned by anyone. It's not inherited to anyone, but it's to support and steward something. Think about that. How selfless is that? So there's some really cool ideas. I know a lot of us, we want to take care of ourselves first. Our family is very important as well. But I think sometimes we miss how to take care of our families. And that's taking care of our families is more of the idea of, we have a couple of different quadrants, as we call them. There's resources and money. There's core being and core beliefs. There's experiences, and there's the giving to the world. So we at Gentian here want to bring those up to you, those questions up to you. We love helping you plan your retirement. It's fantastic. We've had a few of those conversations this week that have just been phenomenal. We want to make sure that you, for those who'd like to, we can help you live it well. And it's not us doing it, it's just making you realize and asking you questions that will help you live it to your fullest. But that takes discovery and understanding your purpose to do so. And then helping you in innovative ways, give it. Not just going to the estate planner and say, okay, we're going to divide it up this way, boilerplate next, but actually do it in a meaningful way. So it's going to change and buck a system that exists now. So it's not always easy. So just a few things I wanted to bring to you today that I felt were a bit more transcendent, a bit bigger than just a conversation about the markets and different ideas as well. I was so excited I couldn't even get on my computer this morning when I was doing this. So I appreciate your patience with myself and you guys for picking me up on that. But I want to really end this with probably some of the more important things, and that's what to look out for, what's going on at Gentian right now. And I want to bring on one of our valuable teammates here, a super person. If you haven't met her yet, it's Angie. Angie, why don't you tell us and end today with what it is we need to pay attention to for the next week or so?
Thank you, Chris.
Mhm.
So we're going to wrap up the month of February with a few items here. Next Monday, February 21st, the markets and Gentian will be closed in observance of President's Day. So please keep that in mind. Tuesday, February 22nd, we will say congratulations to our Peter Nordenberg, who will be tying the knot with Lindsay in the Dominican Republic. So we wish them the very best. That's exciting news. They're a beautiful couple. So congratulations to them. Coming in March, our next bi-monthly webinar will be March 2nd. So that's Wednesday, March 2nd. And also on Tuesday, March 8th, we will have our women's webinar, and we will be celebrating International Women's Day. So that's always fun. We've gotten a lot of attendance and participation. They've really been ramped up to a lot of fun events. So ladies, please join us. It is a really fun hour or so to hang out and collaborate. So please join us for that. And Wednesday, March 16th will be our next Gentian Birthday Club lunch. If you are born in the month of March, we would love to have you guys here for lunch and coffee and cake and to celebrate you. So please watch for details on that. That will be coming out shortly. And we want to say happy birthday to everyone that had a birthday in the month of February, including our very own Jenny. She will have her birthday next Monday, so she gets a bonus day off for that day. And we want to say happy birthday to her. And with that, I will turn it back to Chris to wrap it up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Ange. Thanks for bringing all the important things out. I would like to just end with a couple of different things. And one that struck me as probably one of the more prophetic things you guys have all, not prophetic, but wise things you've all taught me. And as I've listened, it's very much true. I think a lot of times, and this is what we miss, you achieve something and the achievement of it is not nearly as satisfying as you hoped it'd be. The actual satisfaction and the learning occurs in the struggle. It's the struggle in the journey that the learning comes. It's the tough times that lead you to the victories. So I want to just flip this around and say, listen, we may be striving for something, but don't lose that in the striving, you're actually learning. And that's where the important stuff is. So I want to leave you with that today. Thank you tremendously for working with us. Thank you for the introductions. We really appreciate that. We'll continue to do our very best for you as you continue to introduce people to us, but really taking care of you is what we're here for. So we appreciate that. We appreciate your gratitude. Stay healthy, stay safe, and provide somebody with hope or inspiration today. Use those arrows out, if you will, to provide somebody some happiness that they didn't expect. With that, we will see you in 2 weeks, if not an appointment beforehand. Thank you.